Don't let the old lady in. What do I mean, don't let the old lady in? Pretty simple. Everything we do today is adding up to whether we let the old lady into our bodies, or old guy, depending if you're a guy, obviously, into our bodies or not. So, the term biohacking has been coined to say, hey, basically what naturopaths have said for forever, which is how to live from a place of prevention so that we age strong, fit, and healthy. So it's not about denying that aging is going to happen, not on your life. However, it is about doing little things today so that they add up so that you can age strong, fit, and healthy. Now, everything that I do is all based around this thinking anyway. However, I wanted to just speak into what it would mean to just a few things about not letting the old lady in. So let's get started. This podcast, I'm going to dig into all that kind of stuff. So listen up. So I see life as kind of acts, like acts in a play. Some people talk about seasons. I like to think of it as like acts in a play. And they're quite distinct stages. So I think about, my 20s and getting a feel of who and what I was, my 30s, 40s. I remember I was trying to be all grown up and it was just business, 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 achieve, 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 achieve. 50s and 60s, looking for different things, wanting to really more focused on, the legacy I leave and really tapping into my wisdom and helping to other people do the same. And then I see, the 70s and 80s and 90s as another act where, again, we just continue to enjoy that richness of life and give back and contribute. Because in like the TV show, The Blue Zone on Netflix, they talk about how one of the biggest common denominators for people to become centenarians, to reach 100 years of age, is to actually make sure they have a purpose. And so for me, having a purpose to live into being more of the wise old crone, which is just drawing on everything I've done and seeing how I can help other people with it. It's not special. Everyone's got it in us. But whether we do it mindfully or not and keep a purpose, whatever your purpose you choose it to be, or surrender to aging, like for really surrenders to aging. I took up surfing at 56 and my wife, Alice, she took up surfing at 48. Why? Why not? When I took up surfing at 56, it was the suggestion of my 30-year-old personal assistant, a guy, and Shane, he said, Jen, we should learn to surf. And I went, yes, let's do that. And then I thought, holy shit, I have to learn to surf. But why not? Where's the rules that say we can't learn something so friggin' challenging in our 40s and 50s and 60s and older? I've got a woman I surf with who learned at 79. Seriously, there's no rules with this stuff unless we buy into them. So I see the stereotypes of aging as quite limiting. I really do. And I think about when I was 17, I went off and joined the Australian Army. And I remember thinking my mum was so old. She was 39. 39. That's insane. Think about the Golden Girls TV show. Those women were in their 50s. We loved that show and they were crazy cool. And yet we thought they to be so old. Their energy, their vibe, their way of being, everything was really quite different to what a 50-year-old is nowadays. And I love that we are breaking that stereotype and not letting the old lady in. I think it's really important. It helps to encourage us to, or even the thought of it, helps to encourage me and other people to challenge the stereotypes. Where's the rules? Where's the rule that says I can't be surfing in my 90s? Oof, I intend to be. I may be laying on the board instead of standing up, but I will be out there engaged in life. Aging doesn't mean, or doesn't have to mean, losing vitality. It's about embracing life, maybe in some new and tweaked kind of ways, but still embracing it. These are just a few of the absolute keys for me that I thought, what are the keys that help me stay really engaged? One is we've got to move our body in some way every day. Okay, so we know that it helps heart, cardiovascular system, all that kind of stuff. That's important. It's excellent. Well, I remember when I studied, to be a naturopath and learning about how we need to keep our lean muscle mass as we age to be able to even do things like pump the blood through to our brain to prevent things like Alzheimer's. It's huge. Also sarcopenia, which is that the natural loss of muscle mass as we age. We want to delay that, put that off, and we can by eating foods close to nature, absolutely making sure we still have enough good quality protein to help that happen, and also then to be using our body. Just, it fascinates me, I see people as they age that they'll take calcium tablets to keep strong bones. But if you're not doing weight-bearing exercise, the calcium you're consuming in your diet without a tablet or with a tablet makes no difference. It won't tell your body to make strong bone. So we want to, make sure we move our body in some way every day. It's so important to keep our mobility and our independence as we age, but also our flexibility and that ability that we can save our asses. The number one thing that, or so many people die from having a fall and they break something, but they could have been doing things for days, weeks, months, and years prior to be able to have their body stronger and more flexible. What's one of the things I love about surfing? I've got a great sense of balance. So I know that can only help me as I age. So whatever you're doing in the way of moving, move your body every day because it's important. The next one is kind of social connections, and this is staying plugged into people. So this was one of the other things that showed up in the research that was done and was shown through that Netflix show, the Netflix show, and the Blue Zone. And it's about how staying connected with people. So it doesn't have to be necessarily family, but friends and community. Surrounding yourself with people who can give you emotional support, companionship, and really a sense of belonging. And having that shared kind of connection in life. And it's like, wow, what are you doing? What are you doing? It actually adds to us being able to age really well. So staying engaged in community is huge, whatever that means to you. Also, stay curious, pursuing passions and purpose. Like I already talked about purpose, but passions, we need to find something meaningful to us. It's like a cornerstone of living at any age, let alone as we age. So whether it's through, your work or volunteering. Nowadays, I volunteer at the Veterans Garden, or the Veterans Backyard, we call it, which is we're doing a garden project where veterans can go and just spend time and be together for connection. But it also gives them a purpose to help other people. Also, anything creative, personal goals, whether they be health goals or, my goal to learn ukulele better. Using our brain, using our body, being curious. Wow, what would it be like to learn to surf in the 50s? I wonder. It wasn't something I'd ever thought about, but boy, I'm so happy I have. And what it's done is all these little things, they help to give us a better sense of, or a better resilience, that when life does get tough, and it can in different ways as we get older, it helps us to grow and give us more of purpose, and also that that kind of way just to hang in there when it gets tough, that resilience, that grit. Another one is to embrace change. I see it. I've seen it in my family. So many people, as they start to age, they get so set in their ways, they don't want to change anything. And I choose to have a flexible life. I think that life is dynamic. Everything, Buddha says nothing in life is permanent. And so change is inevitable. We need to find ways that we can live with life and navigate it and get excited about changes versus not. So if I even think about technology at the moment, far out, it can be overwhelming. That, I was on a business meeting yesterday, and the guy I was on a business meeting with, he had an AI literally creating the summary of our whole conversation in bullet point notes that we could action afterwards. And I'm like, what? I need to check this out. It's 18 months ago, I wouldn't do reels in social media. I just thought, no, I don't want to do it. That inner rebel in me, that, born in the 60s fighter, was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I went, come on. And I was reading the book, The Diary of a CEO, really recently. And the part that struck me the most out of that whole book was to lean into change. And I went, I get it, that I have an inner rebel, which is great. It helps keep me safe. However, I don't want to miss out on anything. So embrace change, and that helps build our resilience as well. So they're just a few of my absolute favorite ways to not let the old lady in. I think it needs to be like a rallying cry to go, yeah, don't let the old lady in, or don't let the old guy in at any age. At any age. It doesn't matter what age you are. Don't let them in. You don't have to. However, remember that every damn little thing we do today Every little thing is contributing to our health as we age. I am so happy I burned out in my 20s because it absolutely gave me a different place to where I am today than if I'd kept burning myself out in the corporate industry and drinking and oh god, I was truly a mess. It wasn't good. So it doesn't matter what age you are, we can make change. I think it's important that we challenge the stereotypes. There's no right way to age. Just because our parents and our grandparents aged a certain way doesn't mean shit. We don't have to age that way. We can choose to age strong, fit, and healthy. That's what I choose to be about, and I dare you to do the same.